This is WKYC-TV Channel 3, Cleveland, Akron. It's 6 o'clock.
As it entered the 30-mile...
Live. Kim Bratton. Jim Hooley. Weather from Terry Burhan. And Tortora with sports.
This is Channel 3 News. Good evening, everybody, on this Sunday, December 2nd, 1990. Here's what's happening.
On that Worcester Highway.
In Baghdad, Iraq yesterday accepted the idea of a trip to Baghdad by Secretary of State James A. Baker III, but linked the resolution of the Persian Gulf crisis to the Israeli withdrawal from occupied Arab lands. President Bush has in the past ruled out any such linkage in settling the crisis, which is set off by Iraq's August 2nd takeover of Kuwait. His administration appealed to the position again yesterday. Tens of thousands of Iraqis, meanwhile, staged demonstrations in Baghdad and other cities and protest the UN Security Council resolution against.
But what happens is later on tonight...
The force against Iraq does not leave Kuwait by June 15th. Demonstrators burned American flags and chanted, "Death to Bush!"
These are actually trying to drop their waist.
Iraqis were joined by about 50 peace campaigners from Britain and the United States, Italy, and India. The foreign peace campaigners included a group of 6 American Indians who arrived in Baghdad fighting with a delegation of Japanese Buddhist monks, the Indians. Members of the Sioux tribe from the North Dakota were led by Garfield's Grassroot 59. Also yesterday, Pope John Paul II appealed for pen dialogue in the resolving the Gulf crisis. His comment came in a message to sensitive Christian leaders meeting this week in Baghdad. In Iraq yesterday, former boxing champ Muhammad Ali put off pledge leave with 15 American captives. Aid said Ali, who has been in Baghdad for a week, hoped to win the freedom of more hostages. Bush offered fighters to send back to Iraq for a last-ditch diplomatic after the war. That move caught by Iraqi government by surprise. Yesterday's statement was the first formal response by officials in Baghdad. We accept the idea of invitation and in the meeting. The Real and Revolutionary Command Council said in a statement at a Tim.
It was over.
Timing and practical arrangements could be agreed upon later. The official Iraqi news agency released a statement after an emergency session of the 5-man council chaired by the President Saddam Hussein.
Posted his own play-by-play on YouTube.
The plane director of the plane dealer will be built at a $210 million printing and distribution facility on 84-acre site in Brooklyn. Publisher Alex Metchesky announced today construction on a site near I-40 and Teeman Road will begin early next year. Where completion is scheduled for during 1984. The facility has about 500 employees, mainly press room, mail room, paper handling, and distribution workers. The newspapers, news advertisements, circulation, customer service, and most press operations, office-related divisions, and executive office will remain at 1801 Superior Avenue in Cleveland, where the paper is now printed. The print dealer will continue to employ about 11 people in Cleveland and 2 locations will be linked by fiber optic technology. The project continues to be plain deal's commitment to the increase of the value of the newspaper readers' advertisements. McChesky said, "We already added more than 60 reporters and editors and opened 3 suburban news bureaus."
Weather changes.
McChesky said, zone editing has been started from Lake Cuyahoga, Lorraine, and Mid-Island reported 7 counties. The zone editions include all international and national news as well as the news from Ohio, Cleveland, and Cuyahoga County generally produce daily by the newspapers 3 and press up, but the zone edition feature extra news, sports, and advertising from the counties in each zone. Zone editions within Cuyahoga County include Cleveland are being planned. When the new facility is completed, readers will enjoy a plain deal that offers later news and sports coverage, but more news about the neighborhood suburb. Pictures and graphics and more extensive use of color. The publisher added, advertisers will benefit from better quality and reproduction of ads, from our ability to print their ads in color, but from more flexibility in the placement of the ads and from a more extensive zoning. The state-of-the-art facility will be enabled to plain deal to meet the competitive challenges faced by the metropolitan newspapers today by improving our production capabilities and our efficiencies. The project will be included $70 million building plus $140 million whatever printer presses and other production and distribution equipment. The Austin company at Cleveland will design engineering construction facility.
I'm Jack Harper, WCBB News Center 5.
Right now, police in Brighton are searching for 3 young men.
In Columbus, Richard Celeste, Governor Celeste is trying to second-guess juries across Ohio as it considers clemency for as many as 115 women in prison for assaulting and killing their spouses and companions and other crimes. County prosecutors said it would be outraged that Celeste would be considered granting clemency for women who alleged that battery and played a role in such a wide range of crimes. The women in all contended they were victims of abuse of husbands and lovers, and they should have been allowed to use their battered women syndrome defense of their trials. Even state officials who assembled their names and screened the case admit the list is horribly flawed. And it's why for women who have killed many 3 men and women who murdered their parents and
But surveillance cameras were rolling.
Silence women who have sexually abused their own children and women who have been involved in the murder for hire schemes. It's outrageous. These kinds of cases are being turned into kicks for premeditated sets and Trumbull County Prosecutor Dennis Watkins Wall did it. This was intended for a single-out women who were killed or assaulted and abused inmates that turned out to be the grab bag of crimes with the so-called veteran based largely in inmates' own town. They often
not only
found in prosecutors' assets in April of the year, Ohio First Lady Damas Lesson and the governor of state correctional officials safely completed a list of women who were unable to use the battered women's syndrome in defense. Prior to the March 7 ruling by the Ohio Supreme Court that permitted defense, sources said state workers were pressured to get those lists and so selected act before leaving office in January. Only a handful of women and men. Alice might have successfully used the battered women's syndrome as a defense, officials said. And then acknowledged with state workers scurrying to complete the special clemency project for Celeste. Hordes of women have jumped on the bandwagon. This has 12 of May 2 cases handpicked for state officials.
a judge ordered
115H requested investigated and each inmate gets a hearing before parole officers. Many prosecutors were unaware that the women from the counties were seeking clemency and that they were constructed by the plain dealer. In most instances, they said the women never had met the criteria for using an about women's syndrome as a defense. That's the justice strips the power to the courts and the whole judicial process as if the governor grants clemency into these cases. Summit County Prosecutor Lynch sees what these women are asking for is that the governors be tried with the facts. The governor is not tried with the facts, and in the judicial system, Slabby is not the only prosecutor who thinks it's less. Anyhow, almost 3 years ago, Carol McCartney and Camden pleaded guilty to the permanent estranged husband's body full of bullets. 7 in the car tracking a man in the car in the Township Motel parking lot. Now, after the family denied during the question that she and her husband fought. On the night of his 1987 murder, McCartney is asking Governor Celeste for clemency, claiming that she was a victim of abuse who was acting in self-defense. 7 County Prosecutor Lindsay Slaby thinks that's probably got. I would have recommended there will be absolutely not be clemency granted case. She was pretty called and calculating. Slaby was surprised to find McCartney's name under a list of 115 women seeking clemency under the battered women's syndrome defense. The R adult parole of 40 is reviewing case in order to make the clemency recommendations in Celeste. The R was the state Supreme Court.
for what I have done.
Well, that any women who are victims of repeated assault and abuse and battery can use it. That is defense when charged with the crimes. They are caught in murder in which alleged batterer was a victim. In February 1988, McCartney pleaded guilty to grave murder, admitted that shot then abandoned Beth Club owner James McCartney on August 11th. His body was found in a truck in his car 4 days later. Until her 4th day of trial, McCartney maintained her innocence by the slain. Then the detective acted on a tip found a bullet match to those fired from a murder.
Kansas. We were
Weapon on the first patch in a seal on McCartney's home and a blood stain on the basement stairs. McCartney pleaded to guilty the next day and served 15 years to life in prison for aggravated borrower green and now grave murder. 2 restaurant employees testified at her trial.
charged with and pleaded guilty to drug offenses, not murder. Even
That selling of sex cut in an interest in the Cleveland Police Department in a big way last month. 1 and 2 prostitutes and an alleged 80 men seeking their services were arrested during November. Only 63 prostitutes related arrests were made in all. 1989, police said. We want people to know that they're going to be shot for sex. They might end up in going into jail, said Sergeant Charles Lane. Out of the street claims unity, we are going to continue our effort in 7 days a week around the clock. The crackdown has caused a decrease in some prostitution in some neighborhoods, and judges are plotting an increase in the number of arrests. And judges Ben Tuffin Johns, the street name for men who are seeking out prostitutes. The usual punishment includes fines up to $1,000 and court costs, a sentence up to 40 and 100 hours of community service work and 2 years probation. I don't think that the sentence is stiff, said Cleveland Minnesota Judge Shelley Seffel. The problem causes will enable to decoy. When John's mostly men who live in the suburbs of court that they are apologetics, he said some. I pay their wives, said 90s of the defendants are professionals such as accountants and engineers. Several men who convicted to still assessed were ordered to scrub walls of Metropolitan 140 units as part of the community service work. This response increases a significant number, which includes resolved to bring a neighborhood problem under control, said Martin. Alpha School police spokesman, we tend to seek out prostitution to those individuals who solicit prostitution to the neighbor in throughout the city. Cleveland Lane said the rest of men occurred throughout the city, but much of this problem is concentrated in the area between East 50th Street and West 60th Street, and mostly on Central Avenue on the side and Detroit and Lorraine areas.
for whatever reason cannot
And Detroit and Lorraine Avenues on the west side. Lane said that those arrested were booked on a variety of charges, including in loitering on purpose of prostitution, engaged in prostitution, promoting prostitution, and soliciting in addition to police having them handle the cars.
in any way to their East Boston.
The judge has been very similar to the problem. Lane said they have been handing down stiff sentences and fines to defenders. Lane said his unit focused on prostitution during November because of numerous complaints that the police department has received from the residents and businesses. Women and men were asked by John on the way to work in sex action. Men are observing in the parking lot, Lane said. But he said it has a problem decrease in some areas of news service. Some of the areas that seem to be quieted down, but we will respond to the complaints whenever the areas open up. He said, and Marie Renlin is part of the court watch group that keeps an eye on how well judges are, the justice system perform. So that group is pleased with the efforts of police to rid the streets of prostitution. We have it and get a lot of good results. The judge has been really been creative with her sentences. She said about 20 community services and agencies has been received the benefits of the community service sentences.
Hoping to get the same deal Boston negotiated.
Calgary County Common Police Judge Michael J. Corrigan made somewhat of a prediction of Michael W. Hutchins took place in the Eastside drug deal and probation for 2 drug-related offenses in 1986. I will inform you that without accepting any individuals that have been placed on probation 5 years of validated their probation and the original sentence that have been imposed. Okay? I hope that you are an exception. Corrigan said according to the transcript dated September 23rd, 1986 proceeding. Now, if your blood or urine comes out 30 any time between now and 5 years now, I'm going to pull that blood. You understand that? Everything is in your hands. The next 4 years provide quite offensive Hutchins of cocaine, marijuana abuse. He was indicted on former drug charges and was sent to prison by Corrigan in 1980, but he was released on shock probation in 1990 to help the FBI and drug program and became a governor with this situation. Appeal and said during Milano. Although he was one of the 2 men tried in the federal court on charges that resulted in information Hutchins that give the FBI no one.
Underneath that score
It's above the law, not judges that prosecutors not to place this federal trial. Milano accused Corrigan of releasing Hutchins and lost because it didn't know much of a shock probation was filed 6 months after Hutchins was in prison. It should have been filed within 16 days of his incarceration. Officials of Manchester Deal included the dismissal of 3 drug cases against him. That dismissal 2 cases against his wife and the return of $23,000 in cash seized with 1988 drug raided at a couple's East 82nd Street home. But one of the cases handed in Corrigan, anytime law enforcement officials track this kind of problems with a character like Michael Hutchins, it said that should be reviewed. It said Devani.
Sponsored by the province of Nova Scotia.
Lawyer who represents any other men charged with that Hutchins information. John Legato, an FBI agent who likely mentioned released this week. You can catch drug deals with Nancy, Legato said. Corrigan admitted any lack jurisdiction when he released Hutchins. Defendants actually stated to keep Hutchins probation because both the prosecutor and Hutchins lawyer wanted Hutchins to become an FBI former. That says a different section of all parties agreed.
6. Okay. Let's try something new.
Okay, Mrs. Tucker, your dentist will be ready this Friday.
Debbie Lingo has made, and she knows that the Wadsworth resident makes a pretty good living and has no boss, which means nobody can fire her. Her work performance will be officially by no one. Shell Danu has reports she does not clock grew in worn out after suffering the office ball. Politics and common co-workers are combining parties and feature grand and wars and blend chicken platters. Unlike most, she'll be the events on her own and with her own efforts. What like and she has to do it by get up at 3:30 in the morning, Monday for Friday. She makes enough food to feed 100 or so people scattered across 40 offices. Lego says that there's no word for what she does, but words are not necessary when you are. It's not in the summon and Lingo bakes, cooks, packages, and delivers food to workers at the butcher's who Kaban. This man, late 30s raider chef, as an adult answer to
our undergraduate program today at smhu.edu.
Mom driving out of Central School, typically Lingo. Enters an office looking at a big blue cooler pack with sandwiches, killer brownies, soup, salad, and of a noontime treat. Just when a coffee had trade office workers decided whether non-nourishment for weight to call drive around the street. The door swings open and the lunch makes its appearance. Compliments of Dilly Theodore, a company name. Lingo has just had a trademark. A few months ago, Lingo had a somewhat less uptime job working for a oral surgeon in Cincinnati. She didn't mind the work, but wanted to break out her own and start her business. Golfing away, she was not good idea what she actually would do. On the day she sat leaving for a Famous Circle magazine and spotted an article about a woman in Washington who quit her job. She class saving $5 and started her own lunchtime delivery service, and 3 years later, article. She was earning about $450,000 when Lingo was started in she struck that it was obvious that it's all delivering prepared food to the.
Yes, it's true.
Right there when I wanted jumping up and down, I found it, she said. She immediately returned to her native Wordsworth and campus transfer offices and businesses in the Montrose commercial area and state. Says I know I'm waiting to ask people whether they be interested in her returning with homemade food. 26 asked her to come back.
Incredible 70% off carpet, hardwood, and
she did within the standard range of home cooked goodies. Lingo has now 4 stops, which has a break at 3:30 a.m. and a rented commercial kitchen by 4:30. Package of foods at the plastic wrap about 7:30, 8:45. By about 1 p.m. she is done.
Law enforcement officers were honored for their bravery at the 7th annual
Chancellor Helmut Kohl reminds Germans on how high price they had to pay for democracy and urges them to vote today. Ending.
Civilians and fellow officers in harm's way. In some cases, they were wounded themselves.
First three election inning.
Lost his life after responding to.
Reunited Germany in
Today, Governor Patrick presented
almost 60 years.
all over the state
German authorities have issued arrest warrant
for meritorious
for
recognition.
former ex-German leader to the Eric Honecker on tragedy. He personally gave shoot-to-kill orders at the Berlin Wall. After Bert Lancaster had a stroke that has left him weak on his right side and made his speech called Fred says. Space Shuttle Columbia is ready to blast off later today. The crash of 2 U.S. Army helicopters have killed 11 soldiers in Panama last February.
By 3 assailants.
Caught a man avoiding the military but cut out quarters on pilot training. Army investigators say.
Become a symbol
But
of
the Parliament on the 3 Baltic republics convened
Massachusetts.
their first ever joint session and debate whether they should call on the Soviet troops to withdraw from their territory. Parliament promised in the North Reservoir 18 between the United States. They want to will experience explosion of commercial and residential development in coming years. Scray's on all fronts good year town where recovered his face its first annual loss in more than 58 years. Industry observers
Well, imagine Heather drone
describing
It is
the federal regulator who has overseen House
exciting, and it may happen someday. But while the future
savings and loans in the last 15 years as a rigorous trivial patronage called cigars, smokers, stock, green, but also criminal stuff.
by an unmanned aviation vehicle, it's an idea that's taking flight.
It could be done, but it's a massive amount of work.
Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos
Okay.
drones may one day be able
Weather now, here now, Terry Brands. Okay, thank you very much. Jim and Kim. Right now, our current conditions at 6 o'clock. Reports 38 degrees of temperature with a wind chill about 33. The
Battery powered, so they couldn't.
dew point about 23. The humidity 55%. Barometer 3.49 inches. Visibly 10 miles. Winds north. It's about 7 condition overcast skies.
in eyesight of
Okay, let's take a look at our weather.
go out.
Our current conditions, it is 37 out in Lakefront, 41 in Akron, Kenton, 30 in Youngstown, 30 in Erie, 45 in Pittsburgh, 46 in Morgantown, 49 in Parkersburg, West Virginia, 45 in Zanesville, 44 in Columbus, 54 in Springfield, 43 in Dayton, 47 in Cincinnati, 39 in Mansfield, 38 out in Findlay, 37 in Toledo, 37 out in
His FAA approval, which may not happen.
Jackson, Michigan, 36 in Ann Arbor, Michigan, 36 in Detroit, 30 in Erie, 45 in Pittsburgh, 46 in Morgantown, and 49 in
Colliding with
Parkersburg, West
manned aircraft.
Virginia, 51 in Anton, and 52 in Charleston, West Virginia.
But he
Okay, let's take a look at our
in the skies could raise privacy concerns.
We all
weather map around the country. Shows a blast of Arctic air in the northern plains accompanied by accumulated snow across eastern Montana and the close of the day. A gusty wind swept over the Northern Rockies, making the day feel even colder. Cold clouds and showers extending from northeastern Texas to the western Carolinas and
Delivery charge would be about 100
clouds stretching Ohio and Pennsylvania so far. Forecast will go like
expensive pizza. In Cambridge, Bob Haller and WCB.
Friday night will be remain overcast, brisk and chilly with some rain and sleet around toward the morning. The low tonight near freezing.
That's right.
About 30 degrees and tomorrow will be fair and cloudy and windy with a little rain in the morning and afternoon showers. High 42 degrees. Winds will be from the south-southeast about 12 to 22 miles per hour. A brisk wind set in tonight with a shower flurry.
You have to go over.
Excuse me, with a low of 28 degrees. Tuesday we'll have a cold wind and a few snow showers. Snow squalls. Cloud air remain in place for Wednesday and a flurry will linger. High temperature both days will likely stay in the 30s. The lows will be in the 20s and Thursday we have warmer with a chance of shower.
32 degrees, they will freeze up with some black ice.
Sunset 4:59 p.m. Moon.
But as you look to the north, boy, if you're driving up north of Manchester, Laconia, that is a place where I think we're going to see some very slippery roads very shortly.
Jupiter rises at 9:41 p.m. and
Overnight. We're also
Saturn sets at 8:01 p.m. and Uranus 9:51 p.m.
and
Fall moon December 2nd and South Quarter moon December 8th and New moon December 16th and First Quarter moon December 24th.
they just kind of
That
touch against the coast. That's about it. We may have
ski forecast. Many skiers are looking forward to the forecast of chilly weather for early this week. Skiers will have trouble making snow until storm moves by later tomorrow. Tuesday and Wednesday will have provide opportunity for non-stop snowmaking. There's also a good opportunity for some accumulation on lake and high temperatures. Tuesday and Wednesday will remain in the low 30s.
astronomical tides.
That's being weather announced on the sports here now. That turbo. Wow.
Flood advisory. It goes in from
Just like
1 to 1 p.m. What does it mean?
Think-
It means some of those roadways.
Thank you, Terry. Well, just like the
Boulevard, they get water onto them.
Fort Top set, same old song.
Way pretty quick.
For the tune of the Brands, same old loss. Yeah. It's been a broken record for the Browns after they won the first two. As so much for Coach Jeff Schaffner's Hunter the Browns will win the final 5 games. At the rate they're going, they may not win one more. They've fallen and they can't get up.
And then some
Yesterday's episode of the season from hell ended at a 38-23.
we had for tomorrow afternoon.
Lost Rams in front of 61,981 disappointed fans at the stadium.
What's going to happen?
It was the Browns' 7th straight loss and dropped them to 2-10, and it also their 6th straight loss at home. It gets harder and harder, doesn't it? Whose records that fall at 0-3.
7 o'clock Wednesday night.
As coach, we were all disappointed in that performance. Somehow we just don't have the intensity it takes to compete with the top of the team. We are competing against the NFL. I was very disappointed on a competitive level. Not even quarterback Bernie Kosar's post-game pep talk with his teammates last week was enough to keep some of them from playing like a teenager with mental crisis. I hope everybody in the organization and players are feeling sick as I do right now. When you lose like this, you have to be sick and that has to bother you. You're never going to win.
Headed this way. Boy, this is what I mean. It's a pretty uncertain forecast. Be careful.
It was hard to just tell how done most of the players were after the game. By the time most reporters reached the locker room, it was the spouts in the stands in the fourth quarter. The players were there when they'll say, I'm just down. This is not what I thought it would be when I came here. The loss was a team effort. The special teams were horrendous as usual. The offense could not establish a running game and put more than 3 points on the board in the first quarter. The offense line could not just contain linebacker Kevin Green, and the defense could do just nothing right. Camps, the former Browns coach Bob Cousin, who covered the Dogs to wait until to continue to deteriorate during the Browns' 7-game losing streak. It has given up an average of 32 points a game in the past 4 games, and has given up 30 or more.
When we landed,
and now White bats way up, passed by the Browns, Vernon Kosar. And Evan and Jim Everett, right? Congratulations, Henry Elliott of the team up to 13-yard pass play.
We've kind of been through a lot of this before, so I don't.
And the two teams traded field goal in the first quarter. And then Jim Everett passed it to Hulkman. It was 10-3 Rams. And then
Trying to figure out a way to play those guys better and get off to a better start.
and Green, a 16-yard pass from Evan lands for a kick. 17-3 in the Rams. And then
Noticed this yesterday was in street clothes seen clutching a football. Something.
Gary with a 1-yard run for the Rams, and the Rams lead at 24-3. But then Webster Slaughter, 17-yard pass for Brady Cozart. It's 24-10 favor the Rams. But then Dalpino, 21-yard pass from Everett, lands for a kick. 31-10 in favor of
Steve Ridley being in cities. Every week.
Rams, and then Matt, the 3-yard pass with Cozart. Clark's kick is good. 31-17 in favor of the Rams. And Dan Griffin McGee, a 9-yard pass from Jim Everett, lands for a kick, and it was 38-17 in favor of the Rams. And then Mack, a 1-yard run kick failed as a Cleveland Browns lose to the Los Angeles Rams 38-23. Browns will be down in Houston next Sunday for a date for the Houston Roads game. You can see right here in Channel 3 starting at
Wrapping things up
1 p.m. next Sunday.
14 with the Buffalo Bills. Andre Williams.
Other games around the NFL and the game saw right here on Channel 3. Cincinnati over Pittsburgh 16-12. Seattle nipping Houston in overtime 13-10. Kansas City thumped New England 37-7. LA Raiders over Denver 23-20. Washington all over Miami 42-20. Buffalo 30, Philadelphia 23. Phoenix 20, Indianapolis 17. Chicago 23, Detroit 17 overtime. Tampa Bay 23, Atlanta 17. Dallas 17. Nons 13 in the West. San Diego 38, New York Jets 17.
With them, he has a broken bone in his hand. He's going to be out from 2 to 4.
Almost perfect in San Francisco. That's what ABC TV has been dubbing the night's matchup at Candlestick Park between the San Francisco 49ers and New York Giants tomorrow night. An almost perfect game in a terribly imperfect NFL season.
Yeah.
That's last week. The 49ers and Giants were a perfect 10, but each failed the division rivals. That formula will be keeping them apart from the only unfought and undefeated team in league history, the 72 Miami Dolphins. San Francisco committed 6 turnovers and lost the Los Angeles Rams 2017, while New York uncuriously Patriot to pass happy were crushed by the Philadelphia Eagles 31-13 on bars. This meaning whatever made NFL history. No two teams in the same year have started the season with 11-0 records, much less than played each other. Still, this is as good as gets in the NFL. Super Bowls, which was pit the NFC Championship against the best of the AFC, and not anywhere near this stringing. To find a game match of 10-1 teams in regular season, we go back to December 12th, 1948.
While keeping their actual address confidential. If you need that extra layer of protection while rebuilding your life, we're here to help.
Hey, Carter with an active reports yesterday that he may name Kent State football coach today. Tomorrow, Kent will hold a news conference to name its new head coach about 10 a.m. tomorrow. I was hoping I'd hear something, said Cordell, no name offensive coordinator. From his home in South Bend, Indiana, to be honest, I hope to hear something today.
There are a number of new reasons.
If Cordelli, 37, is time to play Dick Quem, the selection may be considered controversial never candidate. Washington SK's offensive coordinator Gary Finkel, who was a co-captain and most popular player in the Golden Flash, decided to be about late yesterday afternoon. Neither Finkel nor Cordelli was available to comment. The man who doesn't give Kent job could emerge as coach of Bowling Green. The Falcons are looking for a coach with Finkel and Cordelli considered the top candidate should Finkel 38.
And prescription drugs.
London Bowling Green will replace two former Kent players as young coaches in the Mid-American Conference. Toledo's Nick Saban and the other. Saban and Finkel played for Kent when it was 1-32 MEC talent and posted its best record of 92 and 33. Cordelia put the JV Rich coach. Lowell's and no ties with Kent, no Fitzgerald at MEC. Cordelia's Notre Dame biography lists him as a backup quarterback when Hank was coach of North Carolina State for Holt. A World Bank official said Cordelia never threw past a rush for a yardage. His great handed him lives at his Letterman in our media book, said Mark Buckle, said North Carolina State Sports Information Director. I want to say he was little used quarterback.
Cue the Bolton.
In the 5 years with the Cavaliers, point guard Mark Price has missed 34 out of 3 of 45 games. 3 games were missed for the physical reasons. The physical problems at sideline Price include a concussion and appendectomy, a pulled groin muscle, a hip pointer, a strained back, a hyperextended left knee, and a sprained right ankle. The report returned to cruciate ligament in Price's left knee. That team physician, Dr. Robert Dinoff, said probably will sideline Price for the remainder of the season in the latest and most damaging injury. Coach Lenny Wilkins
Has what you need to keep you there.
should not play Price's first 2 games today. This 86 days of rookie season. Price of non-physical misses occurred midway throughout 1978 season when his father Denny suffered a heart attack. In the 3 games Price has missed for physical reasons, the Cavaliers are 9-21 and 4 other games he's missed. They are 2-2.
Everything the first Wednesday of every month.
Wayne Emery, general manager of the Village City yesterday, plans to issue a complaint with Rod Thorne, the National Basketball Association Vice President operation over circumstances surrounding point guard Matt Price's knee injury. Price 7-went team physician Dr. John Beckfeld and Dr. Robert Dinoff said today believe the turn anterior cruciate ligament in the left knee. When he crashed it in his course table during the 3rd quarter, the Cavaliers 101-93 victory over the Hawks on Friday night in Atlanta. After being taped an incident, Emery said at a sign at the score table that Worlds of display first advertisement may have contributed to the severity and injury. Price affected the miss the remainder of the season. I don't know if this injury could have been prevented or not. When Mark hit that sign, if I did roll, he appeared to lose his balance. I will complain to the NBA about this sorts of signs. The signs popularized in Europe have been installed in various areas around the NBA during the last 2 years. They are not in the Coliseum. Price is scheduled in court. MRI seen tomorrow at Cleveland Clinic. And Emery said tomorrow's exam will determine when surgery will take place. Cavaliers trainer Gary Bridge always knows Price's injury and attempt to the knee. I have an idea it might be worse, but the last thing I'm going to do, will an injury, I'm not absolutely sure. I would never do that. I'm not a doctor. Emery said he was president of Clem. See him when Berkfield and Dinoff and from Price of the injury.
Thanks for making News Center Boston's most watched local.
Corey Snyder could open the door for Gerald Perry in the rumor mill in Chicago. Pittsburgh Steelers push to keep left-handed free agent Zane Smith. The Pats reportedly creates a 3-year offer to $7.9 million and then said the package could make $11 million. Boston and Chicago Cubs and Red Sox and the Yankees and Los Angeles are interested. Interested tribe catcher Joel Skinner by text appears to be Faney Rangers manager Bobby Valentine report favors Brian Harper of the Minnesota Yankees, Sasser of the New York Mets. Atlanta is close to signing third baseman Terry Pendleton. The Braves have reportedly offered a 4-year deal worth around $10 million. Los Angeles reportedly has offered infielder Bill Duran a 3-year deal for $5 million. White Sox have shown an infielder in Juan Samuel's right-handed designated hitter.
Takes your breath away.
Case West Reserve University topped Johns Hopkins 36-73. The Cavaliers' 35-point loss of 128-85 in the Chicago Bulls on Saturday night was the worst home loss to the 5-year era of Lenny Wilkins and Wayne Emery. A checked home record shows it was the worst home loss in 8 games of the 21-year history of the franchise. The previous worst home loss was a 33-point defeat in June 1971 when the New York Knicks defeat the Cavs 1-94 midway at the inaugural season in game at the old Cleveland Arena. That remaining the worst loss at home, 31 points. Philadelphia 132-102 March 1977. Tonight went Philadelphia 140-119 during 1932 and 20 points. Walked 129-97 in February 1982. Last time Cleveland was personnel director. Gary Fitzsimmons was asked to help raise a point guard such as Mark Price was 5 years ago. Fitzsimmons was serving as assistant coach of Chiefs Cup for the San Antonio Spurs when Johnny Moore contacted his fever.
Challenge yourself by getting a...
The problem with Johnny was had no idea what he was dealing with. He had 36 pounds. Tipsy was front of his life. Fifth Mac. We know we would send you. Still don't replace it all-star God food. The Spurs were 19-12, winning more routine with backwards. And when word struck the Spurs went 16-35 the rest of the way. Walton said he did not know John Morton, the seeker, will start at point guard Wednesday night against the Denver Nuggets. Martin started in the place of press on Saturday and shot 3-14 with the field. He had 6 assists. Martin opened with a game guarding John Paxson, who has surpassed his average by 8.5 points in 6 minutes when he hit 4 straight jump shots, including a 3-pointer. Kurt scored 9 points and had 6 assists in 29 minutes. And that's going to be it for the Chill 3 News, the weekend report for this Sunday, December 2nd, 1990. I'm Jim Doolin alongside Kim Brenton. For good evening, coming next will be the NBC Nightly News. We'll be back for the news at 11 after Decoration Day. Have a good evening. See you at 11.